I'm hearing that you have some blind spots, and one of the blind spots is that you don't give yourself enough grace or enough credit for the things that you have accomplished in this world. And I think that I don't know, it feels like you are like never seeing the perfection in yourself, like perfectly imperfect. And you're like hypercritical of yourself, especially about things that you're creating from the heart. Like if something comes from the heart, you immediately start to like find like almost like made up imperfections about what you're trying to put out here with like your soul's work. And I hear that Two of Swords, right? Hypercritical, kind of weaponizing your darkness against yourself. I think that I have an itch. I'm feeling like you are respecting the people that you respect and admire and look up to. You can see their imperfections, but you give them so much more grace. But I think now, especially now that you're watching this video, you're in a place where you're starting to do that to yourself, like apply that stance to yourself, like see your imperfections come up or see something you don't like about whatever you're working on, even if that's like your appearance or I don't know, maybe like an art project or music or something like that. You're starting to, once you hear that inner critic come in, Knight of Pentacles, you're a lot more gentle with yourself, with your approach, even with that part that is saying, that looks like shit, or you're stupid, or whatever you're doing is totally pointless, or selfish, or doesn't deserve attention or love. It doesn't deserve an energetic exchange. And you're kind of like saying to yourself, oh, like there's that darkness. And like the whole, and you're being easy with it. You're being easy with it and like you probably feel proud of yourself with the Six of Wands coming out. That probably makes you feel, that probably is building confidence too, as you allow those parts of you to speak up, parts of you to speak up, and then you're like, hey, you don't have to be so hard. I hear you, but it's really not true. And let's take a half a step back and take a deep breath into that feeling, into those negative, hurtful thoughts, self-destructive thoughts, and let that feeling ground back down. Because the whole point of this like self-improvement journey you're on, or healing journey, isn't to be like this perfect person that never does anything wrong. But that's why I always say you can't skip shadow work, because you're going to have to learn how to, maybe you've been avoiding this, how this is emotional fulfillment being handed to you, and maybe, you can't skip the shadow work. Maybe you're at a bridge that you've been avoiding crossing. I'm hearing addictions. Could be addictions. That happens a lot in this collective. And again, there's no need to be critical of yourself. Addiction is a way to emotionally regulate, and that's going to die out. I said this in the last reading. You aren't going to have to worry about muscling through the quitting the addiction. It's going to kind of quit you as you become more like, honestly, it's like counterintuitive. You want to become more gentle to yourself, to that part of yourself. You don't want to exile any parts. You're learning how to integrate it. And also doing this kind of shadow integration type of stuff. It's like, even if you hurt somebody, I'm hearing maybe you hurt somebody in a dysregulated state, you're going to have to like learn how to accept that the mistakes you've made toward other people, it's giving jealousy, maybe a love triangle. There's 3. This is 5 of Swords. 5 is the number of like, we're at the hard part, we're at the work part, and there's clouds in the background, and there's crazy weather right now in the United States. Cold. We're at the dead of winter. Where was I going with this? Oh, you have to learn to accept that you're hurting somebody else, either accidentally or intentionally, is not good for them, but they learned. You taught them something, and it's best for everyone else when you can learn to harness your darkness, or like reshape your darkness in a different, like a better container to hold your light, if that makes sense. Because the darkness holds the light. The lack of light holds the light, I think that makes sense to you. And your character is going to improve regardless, you know, now that you're on this journey. If you're watching this video, or if you're this far into the video, you're definitely, you know, improving. You're on an arc right now. Okay. And maybe a lot of times, we have tower moments. Okay, so we have tower moments here. Maybe something, definitely something forced you to see these parts of yourself very clearly. And a lot of times it feels like maybe you don't have the foresight to see why your mistakes are actually benefiting others, and the realization that you are making mistakes. And maybe, you know, you've honestly like split on yourself, and, you know, caused like maybe unnecessary tower moments when you make a mistake, or have a poor coping mechanism, or maladaptive coping strategy, act out, addiction, whatever. And you've split on yourself. You say, I'm all bad now. I'm all bad. That's just not true. That's not true. Nothing is ever set, right? Nothing is ever fixed. And the point is to like not eliminate the pain that you caused, whether it be in somebody else or in yourself, but to take that darkness and honor it, and kind of see how, like I said, how you can reshape it, how you can reorient your stance. Like, say, like we have an object, like I'm seeing like an object in my mind's eye, and a flashlight. This is a flashlight. And we're moving the flashlight around the object, and the shadows are changing. So kind of like that. Get curious about it. And like, you know, like I said, we don't have to discard these parts of ourselves that we call dark or bad. Like, for instance, I am like overgiving. I overgive. I am a really mothering, caring person. And in the past, it's gotten me into some trouble because I give people who are kind of naturally antagonistic or naturally exploitative, I feel sorry for them, you know, and I let them take too much. Confirmation burp. Hard for me to admit sometimes, but it's like people around me are like, why are you fucking doing that? Like, why are you disrespecting yourself? And I can see that. Like, I can totally see that perspective, obviously, because I've been hurt. But honestly, I love that part of myself, and I'm not willing to, like, it's just get rid of it. It's part of my system. And I just learn it to wield it a little bit more carefully now with the devil coming out. It doesn't have to be so, I keep getting itches. It doesn't have to be so, so scary, right? Because we are all human. None of us are literal angels or devils. We are all, there's a lot of nuance. There's a lot of color. And it isn't so polar. But you just kind of like, hold on, let me sit with this. I'm hearing protection. So maybe you have been in the past totally kind of like open to self-sabotage via overgiving, like a lot of kindness, and it's gotten you in places where people have taken advantage of you. And so now you realize that, you know, unfortunately, we are not in a world that doesn't require some kind of protection. It appears as though there are like antagonistic forces moving through human containers, however you want to look at it, however you want to envision it, and you deserve that protection. And you have the ability to protect yourself completely. You are very, 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 very powerful. Is there anything else? 4 of Swords at the very end. So sort of like you're laying down the sword that hurts yourself, but you still have these 3 swords up here for protection if you need it. Okay, and we learn how to wield our protection gently and gracefully in a way that doesn't hurt us. And I think that's all for tonight.